Hey there, Vintage fans! That was loud, but I'm really excited. And today we are playing the Vintage Showcase. I've been playing this deck a lot. So if you're looking at the Epic Storm YouTube channel, I've been recording a lot with Paradoxical Outcome, Underworld Outcome, whatever you'd like to call it. And that's what I have in front of you today. Sorry for the loud intro. I just love this deck. I played 4 leagues with it last night, and I went 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3-2. So 15-5. Pretty good record, 75%. And yeah, this deck is just great. So I didn't play this exact 75 last night, if I'm being completely honest. The first 3 leagues I played Sphinx of the Steelwind, and there was a couple of times where it was pretty awkward, and I was like, I just wish that this was Blightsteel Colossus. Made the switch for the 4th league, got rewarded, decided that I'm going to keep Blightsteel. The last change was Yixo Jailer has just been overperforming nonstop. And throughout this week, I've played for the 4 leagues last night, but I also played a few leagues throughout the week preparing for today. And I was holding Yixo Jailer whenever I was head against Dredge because the card, when I did decide to cast it, just shut them out of the game completely. And I was like, I don't want people to know that I'm playing Yixo Jailer. Well, it was so good that I decided to go up to 3 in the sideboard. And yeah, it's just been incredible. I decided to shave a Soul Guy Lantern for the 3rd Jailer. It just wins if it resolves. Dredge really only has 4 Force of Will to answer it. So until they start respecting Yixo Jailer again by running Contagion or Shoal, this card's going to be outstanding. Force of Vigor doesn't answer it. They literally have to have Force of Will on the spot, or they just have to win using Hollow One. So the mana base is the same as we've been running. I talked about in a previous video the move down to 2 Mox Opal and then Lotus Petal. I just felt like I had too much mana in the deck and I was flooding out a little bit. So that's why that change happened. Arcane Trips are pretty much the same, Gitaxian Probe, Ancestral Brainstorm. In a previous video, I talked about going back up to 2 Preordain with 2 Night's Whisper because I wanted to have more of a Xerox feel in the deck. And then the move back to main deck Hercules. I felt like I was giving up some equity that I just didn't need to be giving up. And I had to find room. So I know that I cut Time Walk recently, and a lot of people were very supportive of that, saying, yeah, like that makes sense. Your deck doesn't really take advantage of Time Walk. Uh, you know, not quite the reaction I was expecting, to be completely honest. I was sort of expecting people to say, like, you're an idiot, Time Walk goes in every blue deck, that sort of thing. But for the most part, Magic community was supportive. Well, I cut another card that everyone plays, and that's Narset, Parter of Veils. And the reason why is that it's bad against Dredge. You can play it on the play against them on turn 1, and it has to resolve through Force of Will and Force of Negation. It's kind of a tough ask to have it on turn 1, on the play, and to resolve through those, right? Like, that's fair. Otherwise, it dies to a Nicarid, a Narcomoeba, like a bunch of things. Narset is not good in those matchups, in my opinion. It's like one of the first cards I brought out against Dredge. It's bad against Shops. I think that's fair to say. So it leaves you the blue matchups and the blue combo matchups that it's good against. Well, everyone is running 3 to 4 copies of Pyroblast nowadays, and Narset is tough to cast because we're playing a bunch of off-color Moxen, and if you're going to cast it, you often want to protect it with like a Pyroblast or a Flusterstorm, something like that. So now you need triple color mana unless you're willing to just let it get countered, and it's just going to die. Even against the blue decks, they have Dread Hordes or Monk Tokens or something. I just find that Narset doesn't stick around. And why am I playing a tough to cast Impulse, really? And that's what it comes down to, is Narset is a very difficult to cast Impulse. So the way that the deck is constructed right now is you end up seeing a lot of cards between Preordain and Night's Whisper, and then you still have your powerful engines like PO and Breach. So this Hercules Recall took the Narset slot, because at least in one of the 3 matchups, it's a hammer. Like, it's going to win that matchup on its own, where I don't think that Narset does that anymore. Back when people used to not play main deck Pyroblast in such high numbers, like it was like a 2 of in some blue decks, Narset was really good. And now I think that she's, fine. Like, I could see myself playing Narset again. It's just not really what I want to be doing. So that's why I have the main deck Hercules and no Narset. You know, everything else has been pretty standard. 3 Pyroblast, 2 Freeze, 3 Breach. In theory, you could go down to 2 Breach and then play the Narset. I'm not against that. It's just that Breach is a way of beating Pyroblast decks pretty easily because this whole combo just dodges Pyroblast. I'd rather have that going on right now than playing Narset. That's the main deck. In the board, we talked about Yixla Jailer. We have the full 4 copies of Hercules in our 75. There's no more sideboard Pyroblast. That's a concession I decided to make. I wanted 1 extra slot against Dredge. And in boarding against blue decks, I felt like I didn't need another Pyroblast. Like, I was boarding out Hercules and then Mystical. And then whatever card I decided to cut was like over another good card. And I think that's a sign that your sideboard map already works. You don't really need to board in a Pyroblast. Then if you decide to board in Bolt, you're picking up more good cards. So you're actually overboarding. Yeah. So if you have any questions about the deck list, feel free to post those in the comments below. The event's going to start in just a few minutes. I'm really excited about this. I think we're going to crush today. I've been feeling really good about this deck. Yeah. Go Underworld Outcome. Welcome to round number 1. We are on the play. I have no clue what our opponent's playing, and we've opened up a hand that's pretty great, minus the fact that it doesn't have a blue source. Yeah. Is Force of Will good enough to hold off whatever deck we're facing until we draw a blue source? I don't know. I think I'm supposed to mulligan this hand, unfortunately. Money on the line, I don't think you can keep that. I do like this one. And I'm not playing the fetch first because I want to be able to cast Fluster and not, waste our top activation here. Don't really need another Brain Freeze, so I'm going to put that one on the bottom. Alright, so it looks like a blue deck. Alright, lost the flip. I don't really want to draw a Mox Opal, so I'm going to fetch first. We're just going to fire off Probe. I'm not going to top. I'm going to keep my options open, because if we draw Tinker here, I have Tinker plus Fluster backup. Alright, so they're on Oath. They've opened up a pretty solid hand. Okay, not the best draw. I mean, Vamp is fine. It's just we would have preferred something that we could actually cast. A little surprised that our opponent didn't Pyroblast that Probe. These are pretty good. I actually like all of these. I think I'm supposed to let that resolve. Otherwise, we can't force through our breach. Okay, so this time we're going to... I guess we could draw the preordain. Yeah, it's probably fine. Three straight crypt rolls in a row. We're going to be dead soon. I drew the preordain because it's one more card in our graveyard for escape. So the game plan here is that on the end step, I'm going to tap, activate top, draw the breach, fetch for Underground Sea. Excuse me. Fetch for Underground Sea, cast Vamp for Lotus. And then on our turn, we have breach plus double backup. And these Pyroblasts don't actually matter. Hmm. I'm going to let that resolve. Maybe that's a mistake, but I have a feeling that we're not going to win the game where we try to counter that. So this is not perfect information. Our opponent did cast a brainstorm, just reminding everyone. So another thing I could do here is not vamp for Lotus, but instead vamp for another protection spell. Oh, I just realized that I don't have double red. So I guess I need to get Lotus. All right, now we sack this for red. All right, so they're casting Force Pitch Oko. Force Pitch Oko. And if they have a Flusterstorm, ours will actually beat theirs because we can pay for more copies. Breach. A. Alright, and we have it from here. Our opponent just wants to see our deck. So after this one, I'm just going to start targeting them. Actually, maybe that's a little reckless, because I do know that they could have a Guy's Blessing. Alright, they've seen enough. So we got game 1! Alright, so I do like Flusters. Probably don't need this Herx. I think I'm going to board out Mystical. They just tend to play a lot of Pyroblasts. And I don't know how much I want to go down in card disadvantage, but maybe that's what you need. Could board down on a land, but some of these decks play like Strip Mine or something. I think I'm just fine submitting this. And I've recently rearranged my ads, so it takes me a second longer to get there. But if you're not listening to the Eternal Glory podcast, featuring myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Brian Cobalt and Phil Gallagher, what have you been doing? Go check it out. It's on all major podcast platforms, and it's a great listen, primarily about Legacy. We do touch upon Vintage every once in a while. It's a lot of fun, you know. Good cast, good guys, you know, great conversation. I'm not doing a very good job of selling this, but we're a lot of fun. Check us out, the Eternal Glory podcast. Or if you're looking to support this content directly, theepicstorm.com/shop. You can get cool card singles there. I'd highly recommend doing so. Tons of, you know, legacy staples in stock, a few vintage things. I'm probably going to list a Japanese Tolarian Academy this week. It's been sitting in a box, and I have 2 of them. I don't need 2. So check out that this upcoming week. It will be in the shop at some point. Yeah. We also have tons of the Epic Storm merchandise. I highly recommend the new mini token pack from the Epic Storm. Game number 2. I don't like opening up on Opal or on Citadel. That said, if we vamp for Lotus, we can hardcast Citadel on turn 2, and if we draw a land or a Mox on turn 1, we can back it up with Pyroblast. So I'm probably going to keep this, but it could also bite us in the butt. This might look like a snap mulligan, but when you put some thought into it, this hand might be good. It really depends on our first draw step. And our opponent, MaxCapone, has taken a mulligan. All right, well, they have unmulliganed. Lotus into Ancestral is always a good start. All right. They have crafted the quality of their 7 cards now. What's left? Come on, opponent. Let's go. Turn Monoko? Dak. Sure. Alright, and they are finally passing the turn. Preordain. Alright, I think I'm just going to start on this Preordain rather than casting Vamp. Unfortunately, I can't keep either of those. Going to hang on to the probe. There's no point in casting it when our opponent's about to draw a card and then loot. It is interesting that they discarded an Oko last turn, because I think that says that our opponent likely has a pretty strong hand. Orchard. And an Oath to back it up. Alright. We are officially in trouble. Alright, so we probably need to draw a Mox off this in order for us to win this game. Mind Break? Okay. Okay, so we can resolve this ancestral. Hmm. So we're in a weird spot right now because we have to be able to beat Mind Break and we have to worry about Dak Faden. A little confused why they didn't play Soul Guide Lantern, if I'm being completely honest. Hmm. So I'm just trying to think through my options here. Like, let's say I go Vamp. And go get Lotus. Hmm. And then Lotus, sack, Demonic Tutor. We're going to have to counter the Mind Break at some point. So Demonic Tutor will have one floating, and I just don't know if that's good enough for anything. Because we've already cast the Ancestral. Hmm. So if I'm going to win this game, I probably have to draw something good off this top naturally. But I don't even know if that matters. Like, I'd have to draw, I think, like Mana Crypt or Mana Vault or Lotus naturally right here while floating a black mana. Oh, the tides have turned. I've now burned my clock underneath my opponent. Heavy thoughts. So I think our out to winning this game is that our opponent doesn't reveal Gristle. Tinker was actually Tinker's not that good. We have Citadel in hand. And then I think in their upkeep we Pyroblast Faden. All right, we need them to like mill like a Sphinx of the Steel Wind or an Emrakul. Not Gristle is what we're going for here. That's pretty much our only shot of winning. Hey! Alright, we stand a reasonable shot of winning this game now. Drew Lotus return. That was a really good draw. That's actually really good because now I don't know if we can beat them. Yeah, I think our opponent just won with that Soul Guide. I don't know how we beat the Blessing. I guess we could try to Citadel 10 permanents, but that's going to be pretty difficult. Alright, so our opponent has 5 mana, which means that they can hardcast the Trap. Yeah, I think our out here is just to Citadel them twice. And I don't know how probable that actually is. So maybe for game 3 I'll board in a Bolt, even though I don't want to. Not really a card I wanted to reveal. Alright, so now the Citadel sack 10 permanents thing twice is definitely online. I don't really want to play... I wanted to find Academy. Do I want these? Yes. Because Merchant Scroll gets Brain Freeze. Alright, so I can still play a land, so I'm going to Demonic for Academy right now. Why waste blue mana? Alright, so I'm just trying to figure this out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I actually need more. Yeah, I think I actually just need to draw more, which is kind of an issue. Because we also need cards in graveyard. But I think more important than cards in graveyard is me just having a bunch of artifacts. But it doesn't look like I drew that many there. What's preordain? Those can both go on the bottom. There's probably a better way for me to have done this, but I have some time. Like, I have 9 minutes, so I'm going to try to win this rather than just concede and go to the next game. I think that I probably drew too many cards, if I'm being honest, and now I won't be able to breach back enough. But we needed to hit more artifacts off the initial one. It's important that I don't play the second opal. And breaches are permanents. I can play out extra breaches and then sack them. Part of the plan is to either bounce or recast Citadel. I think it's better to bounce it because it will be one less card I need to escape. Wish I knew what was left in my deck. I guess I can top. So this would actually be a scenario where having Lion's Eye Diamond in your deck would probably win you the game. Alright, I don't need those. All right, let's activate this. So we want to get rid of 1, 2, definitely the Opal, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault. Top is pretty free. This. Okay. So now we can replay some of these. Actually, I need to PO for probably the rest of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we're going to be able to do this. Where's Mana Vault? Let's bring that guy back. Last card is a Force. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We need one more artifact. And I guess it doesn't hurt to bring back one more Mox. And I believe that we have gotten this. Woo! That was a cool one. I understand I burned a lot of my clock, but that was just sweet. Definitely a earned win. That was pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed this round. I certainly did. It was long. It was a battle. It was just, really great. Stay tuned for round number 2. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.